Okay, so this is Carl.
And I am Tammy.
So what we're going to be showing you is what we call Thors Hammer. The reason why we call this training Thors Hammer is it's very simple and it's very powerful.
Exactly.
And it just sounds like a really super cool name. So I really want you to pay attention to this though, guys. This is a main part of our training. And it's going to seem real simple. It is. But I can tell you, the most successful of our members, this is their main strategy that they're doing. And if you this will eliminate a lot of the clutter work that you might be doing. So this is where the money is. So let's just do a real quick overview. So what we're going to be doing is you're going to be putting together a list of 30 real estate agents that you're going after that's going to be on your target list. And we're going to tell you who to look for here in just a minute. On your list of 30, your primary objective is to meet them for a cup of coffee. Get some sort of a belly-to-belly meeting, whether it's coffee or whether it's lunch. But let's keep it simple for today. Let's just say it's for meeting for coffee. Once you meet with these agents belly-to-belly for a meeting with coffee, you're going to frog them at your coffee meeting. And we're going to give you all the scripts here in this training. And what frogging stands for is family, recreation, occupation, goals. So when you meet them for coffee, you're going to be talking about their favorite subject,
which is them.
Which is always going to be them. At the end of your coffee meeting where you frog them, your call to action at the end of that meeting is it okay if you call them from time to time to see if they have any buyers that you can help them make sure they get to the title company with, to make sure they get to the closing table with those. And we're going to give you the script for that. And once they say it's okay for you to call them from time to time, your new definition of calling them from time to time
is going to be every single Monday morning.
Now, some people would say, hey, every Monday is too often. But keep in mind, on this list of 30 agents, these are going to be very active real estate agents that you're going after. And very active, top-producing real estate agents are dealing with buyers and sellers every single day because they're doing it every single day. And if you're calling agents that don't have that much business going on, well, you're right, that would be too often because they might only have a client once a month or once every other month. But we're not going to be going after that. We're going to be going after the very active agents. And of course, then you're going to start calling them every single Monday morning, asking them who they work with over the weekend, or can you count on them to send you a referral over this week? And we're going to give you the script for that. And when you do your Monday morning phone calls, these things turns into dollars. So let's go into step by step on exactly how this works. So let's talk about your list of 30 first. Again, this is going to be real estate agents. And let's talk about who these real estate agents are going to be.
Well, first, we're going to be putting this list of 30 together, and we want to work with stallions.
So Tammy, let's talk about each person that's listening to this today. Let's give a definition of what a real estate agent stallion looks like versus a pony. So if somebody say, well, what exactly does a stallion look like, what would you say to that?
Well, I think it kind of depends on where you are. So, here living in Florida or in California, where the crowd is large, then you're going to have a lot more people to choose from. So in our case, stallions are going to be people who close from 2 to 3 deals a month.
And when you say deals, are you talking about buyers or sellers or?
Well, I'm talking about mostly buyers because that's who that's who we can write loans for is the buyers. So that's who we're looking for. If they are doing a buyer transaction, we want someone who's doing 2 to 3 a month. And that's what we would consider a stallion. Now, in other parts of the country, and with some of our other members, they would consider a stallion someone who closes a deal every other month, because where they're located. So you have to define your own definition of what a stallion is versus a pony. But for the most part, I think standard across the board, someone closing at least one a month would be a reasonable person to go after.
So finding real estate agents that have closed 12 buyer transactions over the past year,
yes,
for most people would be a stallion. Now we've broken down further into what we call the 3 kinds of agents we want you to go after. So on your list of 30, you're going to put together a list of 30 real estate agents that's going to be on your target or on your radar. And you're going to go after only this list of 30, not 40, not 50, not 80. Just for today, just for the next 12 weeks, I want you to go after 30. And on your 30, I want 5 of them to be whales, 20 of them to be tunas, and 5 of them to be tilapias. And what I mean by that is I want you to go after 5 whales, which would be the top producing agents in your area. Like these are the top 1%ers. They're the ones with all the billboards and everybody in town knows them. I only want you to do 5 though, because I don't want you to put down 30 whales, because frankly, they're hard to catch, and they've probably got 15 lenders surrounding them trying to get their business all the time. And I find, for me personally, I find a lot of the whales are always trying to reach into my pocket and want me to pay for the leads, which I don't, that's a whole nother model that we're not talking about today. But I don't want you to ignore the whales, because every now and then, if you get lucky, you might snag one and bring them in the boat, and they'll do you very, very well. Then I also want you to pick going after 20 tunas. So again, these are still top real estate agents in your areas, but maybe not the ultra successful. These are the ones, like let's say the whales are closing 3 and up buyer transactions per month. The tuna is typically going to be an agent that's closing, let's say, a deal per month, maybe 2 deals per month, somewhere in that range. And that's really where your money's going to be at, is going to be in the tunas. Now, the tilapias, these are the smaller agents. These are the agents that's maybe, like you were saying a few minutes ago, Tammy, that's closing a deal every other month. So maybe like 6, 7, maybe 8 deals for the year, whereas a tuna is closing, say, 12 to 15, maybe 20 for the year, and the whale is closing, say, 30 and up. The reason why we want you to go after 5 tilapias is we want you to have a quick victory, because when you have a quick victory, it's going to, I don't know, it's going to show you that, hey, this really works. And so we want you to go after some low-hanging fruit. And frankly, the tilapias will still feed you well, but they're easier to catch, and so you have an easier victory. Now, we don't want you having 20 tilapias. We don't want you going after 20 of these small producers, because again, we don't want you spending a whole bunch of time with a bunch of people that it's going to take you 30 or 40 or 50 agents to get 20 or so closings. So this is just a nice little mix. And when I say no oak trees, what I mean on this slide is sometimes we hear from some of our newer members that they'll say, well, I've got 15 referral partners, but I've only got 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 closings per month. But the real estate agents I've got are sending me all that they can. They're sending me all the leads that they can. And what that means is they can't send you very many, because it's not a top producing agent. And we don't, again, if you already know some of these people and they're sending you business, of course you spend some time with them. Of course you send them a thank you note, and be the salesperson that you are. We just don't want you putting those people on your radar, because if they're sending you all they can, it's like an oak tree out in my front yard. If it sends me all the leads that it can, well, the oak tree can't send me any leads, right? So we don't want to hear you saying, hey, the real estate agents that I've got are sending me all they can, and all they can isn't enough. So that's why we want you going after 5 whales, 20 tunas, and 5 tilapias. So that's your list of 30. Now, when you're putting together your list of 30, what we're really talking about is building up traffic. So there's another training that's called 4 Parts to a Successful Sale. And it talks about getting traffic, which is, how many real estate agents are you talking to, how many leads you're getting. Relationship is part 2, which is how do those people feel about you. A call to action, which is making sure that you're actually asking these people for business. And then the 4th part is follow-up. How often are you asking the business, and how often are you staying in front of them? So I'm going to refer you to go to that training after you finish this one, and it'll talk about how do you put together that list of 30? Who do you go after? How do you try to
find them?
Yeah, where do you find them? And kind of going after the warm and fuzzy, like people that already know you, or somebody already knows them, that they can introduce you to these top agents. Now, I'm going to tell you, Thors Hammer, this system that we're showing you today, will work if you were to move me in the middle of Topeka, Kansas, and I've never been there. Here's a nice place, but I've never been there. That I could take Thors Hammer to an ice cold list, and I have no doubt in my mind that I could have a very robust mortgage business going in a very short period of time, even going after a cold list. But if we can help you go after a warm list, it's going to happen just that much faster for you, and that's what you want. So in putting together your list of 30, just as an example of one of the strategies, and you're gonna see on this, again, on the class of four parts to a sale, we're gonna go over a multitude of different ways of putting together your 30. But just for an example, let's take the what we call the yellow sticky note script. So what you would do is you would go through all the closings you've had for the last 2 years.
Yes. And then after that, you're going to make a list of all those people, and you're going to call each of them, and you're just going to say,
hey, I came across, hey, Realtor Bob, listing agent Bob, you may or may not remember me, but I did the financing at 123 Main Street. That was your listing, and I was cleaning up my files, and I came across that file, and I saw I'd left myself a yellow sticky note script that said, Bob's a super cool dude, give him a call and treat him to a cup of coffee. Or if it's a lady you're calling, if it's a female realtor, Susan was a super cool lady, give her a call and treat her to a cup of coffee. And so now I just came across this note, and I'd like to fulfill the promise I left myself to give you a call and treat you to a cup of coffee to kind of catch up and see what you're up to, see what you're doing, and see how things are going for you. And it plays on people's emotions of, hey, I was important enough that you actually wrote a sticky note script reminding yourself to give me a call, and you called me a super cool dude or a super cool lady. But when you read the yellow sticky note script, make sure you use it in language that you would write yourself a note. So it's going to sound a little informal because you're writing it, quote, to yourself. Very, very, very effective little strategy to put together your 30. And you might put together your 30 just from that one
absolutely
yellow sticky note script.
Yeah, we've had a couple people who came back and had 30 appointments off of just doing that.
Yeah,
so,
very effective. But again, when you're putting your list of agents that you work with for the last 2 years, both on the listing and buyer side, keep in mind you're going to want to cross-reference that list.
And make sure that they're a stallion.
Yeah, make sure they're either a whale, a tuna, or if you haven't filled up your 5 tilapias yet, at the very minimal, a tilapia. Now, some people are going to say, well, how am I going to know how many transactions they've had? And for most people, MLS Access will give you how many buyer transactions each real estate agent has had. So your homework is you have to get MLS Access, whether you go join your local Realtors Association as an affiliate member. Typically, they'll give you MLS Access. Or if you need to,
you've got a broker friend that may have it, that's great as well.
Whatever you got to do to make it happen, you have to get MLS Access. So you call a friend. I don't care if you treat it like Watergate.
Or access to a report like we've got here in our county. We have someone who puts that list together for us.
Yeah.
So, you just need to get an access somehow to who the top agents are that you can cross-reference.
Yeah,
and most likely it's going to be MLS.
Yeah, that's the easiest way. Okay, so you put together your list of 30, and somehow you got into MLS to make sure that you truly do have 5 whales, 20 tunas, and 5 tilapias. In other words, stallions and not ponies. So you're going to call them up to ask to meet with coffee, and then when you meet up for coffee, you're going to frog them. So let's talk just briefly about what is that script that you're calling these people and you're wanting to treat them to a cup of coffee. What does that script sound like? So again, you haven't met with them yet. And basically what that script is, it's like, I think you're awesome, or I was talking to Realtor Bob and your name came up and he was telling me how great you are. So I think you're awesome, or Realtor Bob thinks you're awesome. I'd like to treat you to a cup of coffee so you can tell me more about how awesome you are. Now, this isn't the actual script. This is kind of the synopsis of the script.
Template, yeah.
It's a template. But I have to tell you that one of our members just told me the other week we were going over this, and he said, wait, I thought that was the script. That's the actual script I've been using was, I think you're awesome. I'd like to treat you to a cup of coffee so you can tell me more about how awesome you are. He said, I thought that was a script. He actually used this script and actually got some meetings using this actual script. But I'm going to tell you that's primarily the template. So let's talk about the actual script itself. And so if you call them up and say, hey, I was talking with Realtor Cammie and your name came up, right? So this is your list of 30. So you may or may not have ever talked to that person before. So hey, Bob, I was talking with Realtor Cammie. Well, she was telling me how great you are and what an awesome real estate business you have. And I would love to treat you to a cup of coffee to see what is it you're doing that had Tammy talking so highly about you. Is Wednesday at 9 o'clock a good time, or is there another time that's better? Well, you might get lucky, and they might say,
Woo-hoo, Carl, that's great. I'll see you on Wednesday.
yeah, so hey, sometimes it happens. But for it to happen on the very first phone call, you're probably going to run about I don't want to give you percentages. You do it and see what happens. Report back to me what percentage you get. But sometimes they're going to just say,
I just don't have time. Sorry, Carl.
yeah. And my rebuttal to that, well, of course you don't have time. You're a top agent and you have a lot going on. What if instead of meeting at Starbucks, I pick up 2 cups of coffee and bring it to your office Wednesday at 9 o'clock? Do you prefer regular or decaf? So when I did that, I didn't say, would that be a good time? I said, do you prefer A or B? Do you prefer regular decaf? Do you prefer large or small? Do you prefer chai tea or flavored coffee? Do you prefer flavored coffee or regular coffee? It's just an A or B type question. So it's not a yes or no, it's an A or B, and that'll work sometimes. So of course you don't. You're a top agent, you have a lot going on. What if I just bring it by your office? Do you prefer regular or decaf?
Well, Carl, I really don't have time that day either.
Okay. So if they say, hey, they don't have time for you to come in their office either, that's okay. So then your rebuttal to that is, well, I understand that, Tammy. So is it okay if I call you from time to time to see if another week is better?
Sure.
Almost always they'll say yes. So I don't say, is it okay if I call you next week? Or is it okay if I call you every week until you finally submit?
Uh-huh.
I'm just going to say, is it okay if I call you from time to time to see if another week is better? And almost everybody is going to say yes. Now, if they say no at that point, say, hey, Carl, I hear what you're doing and I appreciate what you're doing, but this isn't going to happen. I'm too busy. I don't have time for you, right? That's okay. If they say that, if they say, no, it's not okay to call from time to time, take them off your list of 30 and put a new one on, right? So if you take one off, you're down to 29, reach in your grab bag of tricks and put another one on. It's just that simple. But if you take off a whale, you have to put on a whale. If you take off a tuna, you have to put on a tuna. If you take off a tilapia, you have to put on a tilapia. So you get the idea. But almost everybody is going to say yes. And again, if they say, yeah, it's okay to call me from time to time, what's your definition of calling from time to time?
Well, it's Monday morning.
Yeah, every single Monday morning, you're going to call with that same script. So it's going to be
inviting them to coffee.
Inviting them to coffee again.
Yeah, let's take it to coffee.
That's it. And that's all there is to it. So let's say it's 4 weeks that I've been calling you for coffee and you still haven't met with me. It's still basically the same script. So I would say, hey, Realtor Tammy, this is Carl. Hey, you knew I'd be calling you. It's Monday morning. Tammy, I don't mean to be bugging you, but I would love to treat you to a cup of coffee. Again, it's like, you ever bought a new car and then everywhere you drive around town, you see that same car and that same color? Do you know what I'm talking about, Tammy?
Uh-huh.
You're like that new car. It's just once your name came up, it's like I'm hearing for everybody. I would love to treat you to a cup of coffee. How about Wednesday at 9 o'clock at the Starbucks by your office? Is that a good time for you or another time that's better? And again, if they say yes, well then great, you meet them. If they say, hey, I'm kind of busy this week, that's okay. Call them the next week. Now, most of the time, you're going to hit a voicemail. So the question comes, do you leave a voicemail?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. You always leave a voicemail every time you call. And I don't care if you call for 10 weeks in a row and you hit the voicemail, you're going to always leave a voicemail, right? Now, on the voicemail is the same basic script that you're using, but, I kind of have a little fun with it. So, maybe on week 8, I would say something like, hey, Tammy, it's Carl. You knew I'd be calling you. It's Monday morning. But, Tammy, let me tell you something. Just like I call you every single Monday without fail, you can count on me to follow up on any leads that you might send my way, because my job isn't to close a loan. My job is to make sure that you get to the title company with that closing. And just like I follow up on you every single week, I'll follow up on the leads that you send over that way. But anyway, that's not really what I want to meet you about. I just love to hear more about what you're doing in the real estate community. Keep hearing your name coming up. Let me know if Wednesday at 9 o'clock is a good time for you. 727-555-1212. Talk to me when you call in. And that's it, guys. It's no big deal. Now, some people say, well, I feel kind of strange calling somebody every week. But keep in mind, guys, people don't think about you as much as you think they do.
Right.
So, just like if you had a title company or an appraiser or somebody that you can refer to, like a home inspector, calling you and saying, hey, anybody that you can work with, just like with them, when they call you up, you either have a referral for them or you don't. And if you don't, it's no big deal. You say, hey, not this week, Tammy. And you just go on, you answer the next email, or you go on Facebook, or you talk to the next client, or you go pour yourself a cup of coffee, or you text a quick sweet note to your wife or your husband, or you reach down and pet the dog. In other words, your life goes on. You don't spend all day thinking about that person. And the same thing happens when you call people. They either have a referral for you, or they'll either meet you for coffee, or they don't. They don't sit around for the next 4 hours thinking, the nerve of that person calling me up asking me to treat me to a cup of coffee, right? They don't think that, right? They just go on to the next thing, right? Whatever their next thing on their list to do, they just go on to it, and you just happen to be a 1-minute conversation they had of maybe 10 or 15 people that they're going to talk to that day. You were just somebody else that day. It's no big deal. So just pick up the phone, call the people, that you will have amazing results. But the key, guys, is you have to call every single Monday morning. You cannot skip a Monday, because if you skip a Monday, now you're like everybody else. You said you're going to do something, or you started to follow up, and very quickly you gave up. And you're proving to these top producers that you're good at follow-up because you're following up with them. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
You understand that?
And I think a big point here is that a lot of people are going to say no. I mean, that's just the nature of the beast. And most people give up after the first no. It is absolutely proven that most people don't say yes until after the 6th time. So you have to be very consistent in asking them and keep pushing through until you get to that 6th one, so that you do get that yes.
Yeah, that's it. And so you're going to do this for 12 weeks. You're going to call them from 12 solid weeks, or until they meet you for coffee. And we're going to go over that in a minute. So every week, you're going to call them, meet them for coffee, your list of 30. Now, I hesitate telling you how many of those 30 you can expect to meet for coffee, because some have very, very high, and some not quite as high, because maybe they're like newer in the community and not as many people. Maybe like the person that has a warmer list of 30 is going to have more meetings. If you put me in Topeka, Kansas with an ice cold list, I'd probably have a little bit less than, say, somebody that's already well established in their community. But just kind of as a rule of thumb, I'm going to give you some numbers. So out of the 30, you can expect about 12 of them to meet with you. So out of these 30, about 12 meet you for coffee. Now, I can tell you we've had some of our members said, hey, they met with virtually all of the 30.
Yep.
I don't think I've ever had anybody too much less than 12. So just so you can know what to expect. And again, this isn't week 1 or week 2 or week 4. This is after a 12-week campaign that you're calling them up with the same script. So you call them up for 10 weeks in a row. You're now meeting with coffee. And again, some of you you're going to get some of them on week 1, but you're meeting them with coffee. When you meet them with coffee, you're going to frog them. You're going to frog them. So let's talk about what frogging is.
Okay. Well, frogging is going and talking to them a little bit about their family first. It's kind of just warming them up to see where they are. So you're going to be talking about their family. Then you move on to what do they like to do to have fun on the weekends with their family. And in that, you may be looking for a moment where you can say, oh, I enjoy that too as well. So you can have some common ground. Once you've spoken about that, then you're going to move on to their occupation. Where are they in their business right now? How many transactions are they doing? Are they where they want to be? Would they like to grow? What's happening? What have they done to be so successful? What does their follow-up look like? What does their traffic look like? Things like along those lines. And then after that, where would they like to be next year about this time? What would have to happen in their business for them to be really happy with where they are in life and where they are in business? And is there anything that you can do to help them?
And that's it. So family, recreation, occupation, goals, frog. Tammy, how's your family? Tammy, what do you guys do on the weekends? Tammy, how's work going? Tammy, where would you like it to go? And that's it. The key here, guys, is to ask questions and then shut up and listen.
Yes.
Now, just because most people are polite, they're going to ask you about your family and about your recreation, about your occupation, about your goals. I'm going to tell you right now, guys, don't talk about your family, your occupation, your recreation, your goals, because frankly, let's be honest, they really don't care. They're just asking to be polite. Their favorite subject just like my favorite subject, Tammy, your favorite subject, and you that you're listening to this today, your favorite subject is always yourself. These real estate agents, this list of 30, they're going to want to talk about themselves. Now, most of them, you're not going to have any problem with that because these are top producers. These are like roosters, and roosters like to crow. They're proud of their accomplishments, and they have a lot to talk about. So most of them, if you just start asking them questions, most of them won't shut up, and that's what you want.
Yes.
So if they say something like, so
Oh, and how about you?
yeah, exactly. If they ask you how your family is, you know, you might just say, well, I've got a lovely wife and 2 kids, but then go right back to ask them questions. So my 2 kids enjoy riding bicycles. How about your Tammy? What do your kids enjoy doing? So throw the questions right back at them. I want you to think of that when you're talking, you're holding a hot potato, and you don't want the hot potato. You want the person you're meeting with to be holding the hot potato. So every time that you start talking, I want you to envision in your mind that you're holding a hot potato and you want to get rid of it. And so ask questions and shut up. Ask questions and shut up. So you're going to frog them during the conversation and get to know a little bit about them, because we all know that people like to do business with people they know, like, and trust. And if you want, I'm going to tell you right now, guys, if you want to find the quickest way to get somebody to like you, the quickest way to make that happen is to like them. People like people that like them. I'm just being honest. It's just the way it works. So if I meet with a gentleman or a lady at a party and I really enjoy them and I wanna either work with them or start hanging out with them, all I got to do is just show them, be vulnerable, and show them that I like them, right? And show genuine interest in when they talk. And I'm gonna tell you, when you do that, most people are just gonna fall in love with you. People like people that like them, and people send business to people they know, like, and trust. Now, keep in mind that every single agent that's on your list of 30, these are all top agents, they already have a lender relationship, 100% of them. You know, because just the day before you met with them, they referred somebody to somebody else, right? Because these are the top producers. So they all already have a lender relationship. We're looking for those real estate agents who their current lender is not giving them the attention that they, quote, deserve. And I'm going to tell you, that's going to be most of the agents. So most of the lenders start feeling comfortable with their relationships. And just the very fact that that agent is meeting you at Starbucks proves they're willing to, I don't know, let's say cheat on their current lender. Because they know what you are, they know what you're really up to. And when they meet with you, even if it's on a subconscious level, when they meet with you, they're saying, hey, if you give me good enough reason, i.e., if I like you enough, I'll leave my other lender and come with you because I'm sitting here meeting you with coffee, right? So that's the bottom line with all this thing. So, you know, some people say, well, what if they already have a relationship? 100% of them are. You're just looking for somebody who's feeling a little lonely, a little lost, and is looking to cheat. And I'm going to tell you, that's going to be most agents, because most agents aren't getting the attention they deserve. All right. So after the frog conversation, so you got together your list of 30. You called up with your script. I think you're awesome. I'd like to have coffee with you so you can tell me more about how awesome you are. You met with them. You're sitting at Starbucks. You just finished frogging them, and you want to know if they're a good match. So you met with them, and you go, you know what? This person was not a good match. And the people that not be a good match, for me, would fall under one of 2 things. Either A, I find out they're really a pony. So I thought they were a stallion, and then when we're talking about their business, they tell me they had 2 closings last year. I go, oops, there was a typo, or I got some bad information. This person's not a good match. We're still polite with those people. We just don't use the, is it okay if I call you from time to time? Because they're an oak tree. They got no deals to refer to you. Number 2, I just don't like them.
Yeah. Didn't click.
Yeah, sometimes, you ever have those meetings, and I'm going to be a little graphic, but sometimes you have those meetings and you feel like you need to take a shower afterwards. Like the person was just, I don't know.
Slimy.
Yeah, just not cool.
Yeah.
Or just not a good match. On those people, again, we're always pleasant. We're always cordial. We're always nice to people.
Yeah, so it'd be just like, wow, coffee was great today. Enjoyed meeting you. I hope you have an amazing real estate practice. And, thanks for your time. I appreciate it.
Yeah, and it's easy to see why everybody's talking so highly about you. You're just an awesome guy or awesome lady. I hope to see you at the title company soon. Have a nice day. And let it go. Now, if they say, say, well, wait a minute, what about referring to you? Well, I'm not gonna turn it down, but I just won't pull for it, right? Now, if you find out they are a good match, then during the meeting, you have your call to action, not later. This is during the meeting. At the end of the meeting, you met them for coffee, you do your call to action, and your call to action might be, hey, Tammy, it was just an absolute pleasure meeting you here today. I really like you. I mean, you just have a lot going on, and it's easy to see why everybody says so much about you. Would it be okay if I was to call you from time to time to see if you're working with somebody that I can help you with? Because I'm going to tell you, Tammy, if I could hit the universe reset button and only work with agents like you, boy, would that make my life easy. Would it be okay if I just call you from time to time to see if you're working with somebody I can help you with? Sure. That's it. Now, when you do that, there's going to be a couple different things, like, and we're going to go that here in just a second with some of our scripts. But, you know, you might say on that call to action where you say, is it okay if I call you from time to time? And again, it's from time to time. It's not every other Monday or every single Monday. And again, your definition of time to time
Is every Monday.
Is every single Monday morning. But when I'm doing my call to action, I might say something like, hey, Tammy, it's been a pleasure meeting with you here today, and I appreciate you taking time. It's easy to see why everybody's talking so much about you. And boy, if I could hit the universe reset button and only work with agents like you, boy, that might make my life easy. Would it be okay if I was to call you from time to time to see if I can help you with your clients? Because, Tammy, there's 3 things you can count on me. Number 1, I'm going to close on time. Number 2, I'm going to give you great communication during the loan process. And number 3, I'm going to follow up on your leads. Just like I followed up with you for 8 weeks before you graced me by meeting with me, I'm going to do the same thing with the leads. And I know those 3 things are going to help you with your business. Do we agree on that?
Yes.
Yeah. So would it be okay if I was to call you from time to time so I can have those 3 things help working for you?
Sure.
And that's it, right? Just nice and simple. Almost everybody's going to say it's okay if you call. Yes, it's okay. Now, if they say no, it's not okay. Like if they say at the meeting, you know what, Carl, I appreciate that, and it was nice meeting you here with coffee, but, you know, I've already got a lender relationship, Bob, and Bob and I have been working together for the last 5 years. So I just want to make you aware of that. I'll still go for another close. Like I'll go, well, of course you're already working with somebody. You're a top agent. Would it be okay if I call you from time to time to see if you're working with somebody maybe Bob couldn't help you with, or maybe Bob's out of town, or maybe you sent somebody over to Bob and you haven't heard back from Bob, maybe he's gotten kind of busy or something like that. Would it be okay if I call you from time to time to see if I can help you with somebody that maybe that Bob couldn't? If they say yes, well then you're going to call
Every Monday.
every Monday. If they say, you know what, I appreciate Carl, but no, Bob takes good care of me, good enough. For whatever reason, take them off your list. For whatever reason, you didn't click with them, and that's okay. You're not going to click with everybody. Take them off the list. Put a new person on your list of 30. So that's the script up until you meet with them. Now, once you meet with them and you get your call to action of it's okay to call you from time to time, the next step is calling them on
actually doing the phone call. How about that?
Yeah. And you have to do your Monday morning phone calls every single week. Just like you call them every single week to meet them for coffee, once you've met, you're going to meet them every single week on your Monday morning phone calls. Now, I'm going to show you a form here in just a few minutes called Follow My Partners, and that's where you're going to write your list of 30, and that's how you're going to keep track of who have you met with, how many weeks have you been calling to meet with coffee, and how many weeks have you been calling after you met for coffee to get a referral. Yes. But I want to make it clear, you're going to call for up to 12 weeks to meet for coffee. Let's say that you meet with them on week 8, and they say, hey, Carl, Uncle, I give up. Yeah, I would love to meet you for coffee. You're very persistent, pleasantly persistent. I love your follow-up. I would love you to treat me to a cup of coffee. Once they've met with you, and again, let's say it's on week, 6 or 8 or whatever, the clock resets back to week 1. So after I meet with them, and you're now calling them on your Monday morning phone calls looking for that referral, you're going to start 12 weeks all over again. So you're going to call those same people now for 12 weeks in a row with this Monday morning script. If they send you a referral, you keep calling them. If they don't send you a referral in 12 weeks, you take them off the list. So it's one set of 12 weeks to meet with them, and then you reset the clock for another 12 weeks to call them looking for a referral. So let's talk about what the Monday morning phone call sounds like.
Well, you're first gonna go, just call them up and be very cordial. Hey, it's Carl, I was calling to see if you worked or played this weekend.
And if they say, well, I worked all weekend.
Great, well, I mean, you obviously know that they worked, so they showed houses, they were at an open house, they did something, so you're gonna ask, great, is there anyone that you work with that I can help you get to the closing table with?
That's it, right? Easy script. So let's say they played. So you ask me,
Hey, Carl, did you work or play this weekend?
you know what, I took the kids and we went over to Daytona for a couple days.
Wow, that sounds like fun. What'd you guys do over there?
You know what, we just kind of chilled. We took the motorhome over there and just kind of chilled and played cards, watched some movies, just really had a good time with the kids.
You know, I have always wanted to do a motorhome trip. I've never done that before.
Yeah, well, it's I love it. I mean, I really do. Now, what she's doing, she's doing a miniature frog on me on my Monday morning. And as we're sitting here doing this today, as soon as she said, I've always wanted to do it, I wanted to talk more about RVing because I love RVing, especially with my family and my friends. And so it was working. I mean, I know what you're doing, and I still wanted to engage in a conversation. And so anyway, so you do a miniature frog. Now, keep in mind when you're doing this miniature frog, this is a 3-minute conversation. So we've got these little 3-minute hourglasses, and when they say hello, you turn over that hourglass. This is a 3-minute conversation. They don't want to talk to you for 20 minutes, and frankly, they don't have time to talk to you for 20 minutes, and neither do you, because you've got 30 people to call. So these are real short, real brief 3-minute phone calls. So at the end of your miniature frog, if you can get them to shut up, because again, they're going to be talking about their favorite subject, which is
Them.
yeah. You switch over as soon as they kind of pause. You go for your call to action.
Wow, Carl. I am so glad you had such a great time over in Daytona in your RV. That was just amazing. I'm going to have to try that one time. Well, listen, I know you're really, really busy, so I'm going to let you go and let you get back to work again. But can I count on you to send me that next buyer lead that you're going to be getting this week so that I can help you get to the closing table? Because remember, when we talked earlier, I told you there's 3 things that you can count on from me. 1, we're going to have great communication throughout the loan process. 2, I'm going to always close on time. And 3, I'm going to follow up with your leads so that you always know exactly where they are in the process. You know, it's not about me getting a loan. It's all about you getting to the closing table. So can I count on you to send me that lead if you get one this week?
That I got chills on that. That's a great script. And so the can I count on you? Because when people, their natural tendency is to say, yes, you can count on me. Nobody wants to say, no, Tammy, you can't count on me. It just seems awkward to even say it. And even if they don't intend on sending you a lead, when their own brain hears their own ear listen to themselves saying, yes, you can count on me, it operates on the subconscious level. And if you can get them to commit saying, yeah, you can count on me, I'm going to tell you, your phone's going to start ringing. So it's a very, very, very simple script. It's done in a very cool way, and you say it just like this. And keep in mind, you're proving one of the 3 things. When you're calling every single Monday morning, you're proving that you're great on following up on leads because you're great at following up with them, right? They see that. So when you prove that to them, then they just assume that, well, of course, Carl's going to close on time, and of course, Carl's going to give great communication during the loan because he said he was also great on following up leads, and I've seen firsthand he's great on following up on me. So if he tells the truth about this one thing, then he must be telling the truth about the other 2 things. Very, very, very powerful stuff, guys. Very powerful stuff. All right. So we talked about putting together your list of 30.
Yep.
We talked about you call them every week for 12 weeks unless, and yes, you leave a voicemail. And the purpose of the original call is to
get the coffee with them.
You do not ask for leads. You don't ask for referrals. It's strictly,
hey, I think you're awesome. So-and-so tells me awesome. I want to get together with coffee so you can tell me how awesome you are.
and that's it. So you meet them for coffee, and at that coffee meeting,
You're going to frog them.
and
You're just going to be talking about your friends, their recreation, how their work is going, where they want to be next year from now. And you're just trying, you know, the great thing about this is you get to choose who you're working with.
Yes.
So this is really kind of an interview for you to see if you want to work with someone or not.
yes,
So after you've decided, yes, we're a great match, at the very end of that, you say, hey, is it all right if I call you from time to time?
yeah, that's exactly right. Now, a little, so Brian Heckman, changed the script up just a little bit. So at the end of the frog conversation, before he says, is it okay if I call you from time to time, he goes right for the close in. He'll say something like, well, Tammy, it was a great meeting with you, and CCC why Realtor Bob over in your office speaks so highly about you. Or it's easy to see why I wrote myself that yellow sticky note script to make sure that I get a chance to treat you for a cup of coffee. Tammy, is there anybody that you're currently working with that I can help you with? Because, boy, if I get the universe reset button and only work with agents like you, man, would that make my life really cool. And I like you. I mean, I just think you're a really neat agent and like what you got going on. Do you have anybody that you're currently working with that I can help you with? Now, if they say yes, great. Woo-hoo! Yeah, you got it. If they say no, so if I say, Tammy, is anybody you're working with now that I can help you with?
No, not right now.
Hey, well, I can appreciate it. Well, Tammy, and then I'm going to go right back to another script. Is it okay if I call you from time to time to see if you are working with somebody that I can help you with?
Perfect.
And that's it. So go for the close. If they have one, great. If they don't, just say, is it okay if I call you from time to time? I think either one of those work. Frank, I kind of like what Brian's doing with that. So I like the idea of that. So again, do you leave a voicemail when you do this?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. So you said, is it okay if I call you from time to time? And now you start calling every single Monday morning. And again, on the Monday morning phone calls, it's, did you work or did you play? And if you played, great, can I count on you? If you worked, great, who did you work with that I can help you with? And you're going to make that call for an additional 12 weeks in a row. And again, do you leave voicemail on that one?
Absolutely.
Absolutely, you leave a voicemail on that one. Now, just a couple key points here. Number one, you must call every single week. And again, this shows that you have great follow-up with their buyers by showing the agent how well you followed up with them. Always, always, always have a call to action. And again, people think about you far less than you think they did. It's just like if the person that sold you your last car, it might be 4 years since they called you. And you probably likely don't even remember what that person's name is. If they called you 4 years later and said, hey, Tammy, how's that Honda you bought?
Oh, wow, it's great. I love it.
So you ready for a new one, or is that one still working for you?
You know what? This one's still working, but my daughter's going to need one pretty soon here.
And that's, so even if you said, nope, don't need one, nope, just that the guy called you or the lady called you 4 years later, you go, well, that was kind of cool. It's unlikely, it's extremely unlikely that you would go, boy, this jerk car salesman that sold me my last car actually called me up and asked me if I knew anybody else who wanted a car. I can't believe it. Right? That would never enter your mind. But yet, somehow some of us get the idea that when we call people, that's the conversation that we're going to hear. It's not going to be the conversation you hear, guys. You're just another person they talk to that day. It's no big deal. So just move on to the next. And guys, that's it. I mean, we could try to overcomplicate this, but that's it. That's all there is to this thing. So I think you got it now.
Absolutely.
The only thing that we ask is that once you get your list of 30 and once you have your production up to where you want it to be, that you're going to do the same to new people that might be coming in, is tell them how you went to your list of 30 and share with them maybe how making those first set of phone calls or their first coffee appointments was, a little scary. Let's face it, a little scary, but how you push through that fear and you get it anyway. And now you have the mortgage business that you've always dreamed of, making the income that you deserve and that you've always dreamed of, and having a life of awesomeness, because that's what it's all about. So thanks for being here. My name's Carl White.
I am Tammy Schneider, so go swing that hammer.
Thors Hammer. Thanks again, guys. Bye-bye.